Welcome, everybody. My name is Kendra Blackett-Debinga, and I'm sitting right here in the beautiful Drip Lounge at Riverdale Park, Maryland. I am happy to report that I'm about 1 month out from having a total knee replacement back in March, and I wanted to share with you guys my journey as I've been trying to get back to my healing and get back into the hot room. I have been all over YouTube, all over the internet, trying to find ways for myself to recover. And I know that within the Drip Lounge, I have a number of resources available to me. So I'm doing that in conjunction with other things. But I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about why me as a 47-year-old made the decision to have the knee replacement. It's something that I think I've been running away from for a long time. And I finally made the decision a couple of months ago. I had been throwing money at the solution. I went to many different alternative therapies. And while I got temporary relief, I was always back to where I started. Every time I went to get a second and third and fourth opinion, the surgeons will always say, "Wow, you're only 47?" One of them came into the room one time and said to me, "If I had not seen who you were, had no idea about anything in your background, I would have scheduled you tomorrow." That's how bad my x-rays looked to him. So I want to talk a little bit about how I got to this place, what I've been doing to kind of get back into the hot room, and share with you guys what I felt worked for me, what didn't work for me, and some lessons along the way. So I want to take you back to a trip I took to New York. I went to New York on a day trip because we were just about to open up the Drip Lounge, and I wanted to go and see other concepts in wellness that I could learn from as we set to open up our Drip Lounge, which has a whole bunch of alternative therapies. I took the train up to New York early that morning. We walked the whole day with my advisor. And that evening, around 6:30, I took the train back to Union Station. I got to Union Station, the train pulled in, and I got up, and I could barely walk off the train. It happened to be the night that the plane crashed over the Potomac. I was heading into DCA. And I just remembered hearing all the flurry, people running to get out of the station. And I literally was limping along to the point that I wanted to cry. I had never had such debilitating pain. I never felt so paralyzed. I happened to be in the business class section of the train. So those of you who know Union Station, it actually is the back of the train when you pull in. So I had to travel quite a bit. I made it outside and I got into the Uber, and that's when I decided I was going to do it. Now, mind you, I had the surgery scheduled since 2024. I gave myself several months of trying some alternative therapies. One doctor promised me the world, and I faithfully went to my appointments, but I wasn't really getting better. And I noticed that in my hot room, every time I would teach a class, I would be in there and I would feel so good. The heat, everything, the energy, I like to call myself an energy vampire, but the energy of the class, the energy of the students always gave me this endorphin rush that made me ignore my pain. But the next day, when I would wake up, I would suffer. I felt it. Coming into Union Station that particular day, I knew that the decision had been basically made for me. So me, a 47-year-old, a yoga instructor, a fitness instructor, I decided to go and do the surgery. One, because I knew I had the resources available to me to be able to recover. And two, because I really didn't want to live in this type of pain anymore. On March 24th, I went under the knife, and it's been a long journey since of ups and downs. Pain, no pain, feeling great, not feeling great, having back pain, not having back pain. And I want to talk to you a little bit about those experiences. The first couple of days I got home, I had a walker. I did not yet have a cane because I really did need the support to walk. My leg was swollen, but I was still under the effects of anesthesia. I still had pain medicine. And the first couple of days, I literally just slept. There was nothing spectacular. I brought home my PEMF bed. That was where I slept the night. I brought home my red light. That's what I used to help heal my leg a little bit. I even had ice. I had heat. I had all types of stuff with me. By day 3, the pain was uncontrollable. I called the nurse from Drip Lounge and I said, I need something. The doctors had let me leave the hospital with oxycodone. I had some other, medications for pain and swelling. I'm not used to taking medication. I'm not a pill taker in general. And by day 3, I was in so much pain that I was literally tapping out. Now, I've always prided myself on having high pain tolerance. I remember back in 2010, I had knee surgery on my right knee. This is not a knee replacement, it's just a fix of my knee. And the doctor said to me, well, I think you should really take this Percocet. I said, I gave birth naturally. So I think I'm okay. The pain at that point was not worse than birthing. But this particular pain for the knee surgery, total knee replacement, was on another level. I found myself tapping out to the point that I just wanted to sleep. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't find a comfortable position. I couldn't bend my knee. I couldn't straighten my knee. It was really, really tough. And it had me really doubting my decision. After a few days, the nurse came. She was able to get some additional medication for me. I took it. It made me feel so much better. And I was able to get through my home-based PT. And then I started coming into the studio doing cryotherapy to help get the swelling down. I started doing the red light therapy to help with the scar healing. And I went back to getting stretched because my back was out of alignment. All of those things really helped me with my recovery. Of the things that I found the most useful was, 1, taking the pain medication that actually worked. I don't know about oxycodone. It did not work for me at all. But I took tramadol. That helped. That helped me get through my PT because they're doing a lot of manipulations on the leg. Mind you, you're in guarding mode. You're not wanting to move the leg at all. In fact, it feels painful to move the leg, but you have to move it. I remember hearing from one of the YouTubers that I followed, time is scar. And I never forgot that. And I said, oh my God, I have to make sure that I don't have this scar tissue forming. So I started really doing work on my scar, really getting under that red light 2 to 3 times a day. The scar healed up really, really fast. I was able to take the bandage off pretty quickly even before I met the surgeon for my 2-week follow-up. That was an interesting time for me because I definitely don't like taking medication. And I needed to find some alternative ways so I can get the same healing benefits as if I was to take the pill. What I found the most effective in the first few days, besides icing, was that red light. The red light, the heat of the lamp, it really helped to calm the sensations of pain in the knee. And after I would use the red light for a 25-minute session, I found that I was able to actually bend the knee a lot more. That was really good. At night, when I couldn't sleep, I would get on the PEMF bed for about 90 minutes, and that helped kind of lull me into sleep. It did not help with my pain in the knee. And I realized part of it was it couldn't get the sensation into the joint because now I have an artificial joint. But around the joint, the tissues started to heal. I started noticing a lot less swelling. The swelling went down. So that was really effective. I came into the studio. I got cryotherapy. I stood in the chamber for 3 days straight. Immediately, swelling went down. We also have a localized chamber that we can do spot treatments on, and that helped a lot. Those additional things that I used were helpful to help me wean off of the medication as I was trying to also do the physical therapy needed to rehab my knee. I'm happy to say that after about 2.5 weeks, I was able to get back into class. I took a flexibility and mobility class called Flex, and almost 3.5 weeks later, I took my first Bikram class. So here we are. I'm about 5 Bikram classes in. Bikram has been an amazing healing tool for me. I have been able to stand on the leg. I've been able to kick out on the leg. I've been able to get stretching in ways that I'm not able to do on my own, just passively. Being in the class and having that active motion where I'm moving and having to bend the knee has been incredibly helpful. My biggest challenge in this whole thing has been this sense of wanting to tap out. I have never really felt that way, except on my last, when I was delivering my last child. The pain level was so incredible, and I think I wasn't prepared for that. And I want anyone who's considering a knee surgery to really understand that this is probably not going to be easy. I've had days where the pain was so incredible that it made me angry. And I don't necessarily walk through my days in anger. And to have that feeling of anger overwhelm me and on some of those days was hard. But what it makes you realize is that how much more compassion you have for people who are in pain. And I want to link it to the mission for BikramYogaWorks a little bit, because I know, and I tell my instructors this all the time, that the person who walks into a Bikram yoga studio is not your average person. It's not necessarily the person who is looking for the next big workout or the next fad workout. It is really the person, in my experience, that has hit a wall in their recovery. They've hit a wall and they're willing to subject themselves to 105 degrees and 40% humidity for 90 minutes. This is a special type of person. It is not someone that you can handle carelessly. It is someone who has understood pain at a level that you probably have never understood. And I'm having that knowledge, not just within myself, but also the clients that I interact with, is so important, because you realize that, one, you need to have compassion for yourself, right? You need to have compassion for yourself, and it allows you to have compassion for others. And I laughed because, of course, people know me as kind of the go hard Kendra. I'm always going, going, going. And one person says something which I think if I wasn't in a better mental space, I would have probably felt really terrible about myself. But he said to me, he said, "What do you mean? The yoga didn't help you avoid the knee surgery?" And I said, unfortunately, in my case, no, because my knee issues actually started before I even found Bikram yoga. I found Bikram yoga because of my knees, and it helped me kind of stave off surgery for a very long time. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, and so I know that I've been able to kind of put money in the bank, in a sense, really kind of have some compounding interest that allow me to get to that space where, one, I could say, I've done everything that I could do, and this is a decision I need to make now. I have the tools and the resources that I need to be able to get back on the other side, which I am doing right now. And I know that this is going to be something that I'm going to be able to do for the long term, for my health, for my well-being, and my overall mobility. I've been so interested to see how I've handled this situation, because I am used to going, going, going. And this really has allowed me to kind of step back, get back into my Bikram practice, the thing that I know works, right? And be able to say, I see a progression. From leaving that hospital where I could barely move my leg, I couldn't even lift it. My quad strength was 0. I could not lift my leg, to being able to now lift the leg and do a full 90-minute class. That's progress. And I'm happy and grateful that I'm able to participate in that.